So first I'm going to show you the Discord that we have specifically made a Discord channel for this workshop. I'm going to show you it right now. So this is this is going to be a two-part workshop with Linux. So we have our own Discord server for this. This Discord server is for all of our events, but if you see here, Linux Workshop Info and Linux Workshop, this is where you can ask questions. And also like links afterwards will be posted about this workshop here. Also, something really cool that we have set up, if you're really stuck during the workshop, like you're stuck on a specific part, you can click here for help, and it'll make a new voice channel just with you in it. And we have 2 mentors right now, and they'll be able to hop in there and help you, get you back up to speed, and then you can join back into the workshop. Also, we have a little interactive event at the end. You can also click here for help during that as well. Also, something else, you know, when we teach workshops in person, I'm the kind of person, especially like in classes and stuff, I sit beside someone and I like, if I'm confused, I just ask them really quick what's going on. Even though the event is virtual, we kind of have something similar. So you can click these voice channels anytime, say with 2 people, 5 people, 10 people, and it'll create a new voice channel and you can just hop in with them. You can chat about the workshop, it's totally optional, just these are the options. If you have any quick questions, you can post it in the Zoom chat. If you should have gotten an email before this workshop with all of the requirements. One of the requirements was to have a GitHub account. So as soon as you join the workshop, I want everyone to type their email associated with their GitHub account in this Linux workshop channel. So I'm going to post mine. And this is to give you some permissions for the interactive event. Okay, so once you're in the Discord server, please go to this Linux workshop channel and post your email in there. So how this is going to go, we're first once I pass it over to Ariba, when she comes on the Zoom call, we're going to go over the prerequisites. Then we got a little bit of theory, kind of what is Linux, just to give you that basic understanding. Next, we're going to go into the command line, and this is like this is a theory, this is practice. So you're actually going to have an interactive event where you get to learn the basics of the command line. A quick 5-minute break, and then we're going to go into using GitHub. So we have a little intro about what Git is. Next, we have an interactive event with GitHub. And then finally, we have you actually pushing to our GitHub repo. So you can actually make that first contribution if you're brand new to this. So I can introduce Ariba right now. So Ariba is our president of McMaster DSC, 3rd year software engineering, and she's really, really passionate about Linux. Her whole laptop runs on Ubuntu, right, Ariba? Yeah, so just one last thing, if you have any questions, you can even unmute your mic, but we prefer that you write in the chat first. During our breaks, feel free to unmute your mic, stuff like that. Okay.
Okay, great. So this is the setups. So this is like what we wanted everyone to set up like before. So I'm not sure if everyone has a chance to do that yet, but so yeah, so that's what you need. You need like a terminal. So does everyone here have a terminal set up? Does anyone not have a terminal? So if you're on a Mac or a Linux already, then you just need to search terminal and that will work. But if you're on a Windows, you need Windows subsystem for Linux or WSL. But if anyone doesn't have a terminal set up, then you can like unmute or use the chat or something. Okay, and then the next thing that you need to have set up is the GitHub account, and then also make sure that Git is installed in your terminal. And the way you check that is if you go on your terminal, so this is my terminal, and also I'm on my Ubuntu, this is why my computer looks like this. But this is my terminal, and then to check if I have Git installed, I just write Git and then -- version, and then this is my Git version. So if you type this, and then you get something like this, and you have Git installed all fine. But if you don't, then you need to install Git. All right. And the other thing is we're gonna invite everyone to the GitHub repo. Yes, this is the email subject. Yes, McMaster invited you to this thing, so you need to accept it. Otherwise, you won't be able to access the repo. I just want to get an idea of what you guys know of Linux so far. So if anyone wants to unmute, like what do you guys think Linux is, or how much information do you guys have of Linux?
Open source operating system.
Yes, that's perfect. That's what, and I'm just gonna like explain some terminology because there's some confusion about like Linux. So if you search on Google what is Linux, there are some current things that come up. So things like it has been around for a long time and it's being used for a lot of different things, like cars, phones, servers, and a lot of different things. It's Unix-like. That is a term that you'll come up with often, the Unix-like term, which I'll explain more. And the most important part of Linux is that it's open source and community developed. And I'll like elaborate more on that soon. So the things that we want to like just highlight is open source and community developed. And what that means is the open source part means that the source code of the entire operating system is freely available to anyone who wants to see it. And it's also anyone can contribute to it if they want. So it's actually really cool. Let me show you like what that looks like. If you go on kernel.org, this is where the source code of the entire operating system is, which I think is really cool. So this is kernel.org. This is for all the archives of the operating system were ever since like it got released. And then this is the latest release. But so if you go on like, so 5.9.10 is the latest one. And if you go on browse, then you can look at the source code of the operating system, which is pretty cool. And if you go on like kernel and click like any file, like exit, I was just looking at this today and I was like, this is cool. And this is like the source code. So this is the source code of how a program like exits in this operating system. This is like what happens. I don't understand any of it, but yeah. And then what's also really cool about this website really quickly, if you search here, like a name like Linus Torvalds. Linus Torvalds is the guy who created Linux. So he's the guy who invented it. So that's pretty cool. And you can see all the people that worked on Linux. So you can see like his own commits here and like their commit messages. And yeah, and then also this is just like kind of showing all the different authors that went into creating Linux. And this is kind of highlighting the community developed part, because Linux, one of the most important things and why it's such a big deal is that it's community developed. It's like a big, huge community that goes with creating Linux. And you can like actually look at like the commit messages itself, and a commit I'll go into Git today as well, but this kind of shows kind of Git too. But a commit is like one code change to the kernel or like to any code base. And so Linus Torvalds made this code change at this time, and then you can see his message and you can see exactly what he changed. And the other thing that you'll see often is that it's Unix-like, and I'm gonna elaborate more on this soon. And then there's just like a lot of different uses of Linux. You literally see it on like every computer and every digital system that's not like Windows or Mac OS or like some obscure like tiny embedded system. It's probably Linux. Well, yeah, and then there's like some other operating systems too, but this Linux is like the most commonly used operating system. Is like in a lot of different industries. And the reason why it's important for you as software developers to know Linux is because like for most of your co-ops, you'll be using the terminal. Like you might not be using like Linux like Linux itself, but you'll be using the terminal. So this interface over here, you'll be using it because it's so much easier to just do things when you're coding if you can navigate through directly to with your terminal instead of having to go through the file system and stuff. And then also using Git is you're going to use Git in your co-op for sure, or some other version control system, but likely Git. Okay, all right. So I'm going to explain some terminology here for a bit. So when we say Linux, we actually really mean GNU Linux, and GNU is pronounced new, but it doesn't really matter how you pronounce it. Because when you refer to Linux, like I think Hong mentioned Linux is the entire operating system as a whole. So the entire operating system as a whole is actually GNU Linux. And then the kernel is the lowest level of easily replaceable software that interfaces with the hardware in your computer, which is a lot. So this is the kernel, and the kernel was interfacing directly with your physical hardware, so your memory and your devices, your RAM and ROM and CPU and everything. So the kernel is what's actually like doing memory management and talking to your physical hardware devices. And it's very low level. It's still a part of the operating system, but kernel is like the lowest level of the operating system. When you say operating system, you refer to the kernel, which is the low part, and then you also refer to additional utilities like text editors, like file systems and other utilities, and that as a whole is the entire operating system. And then GNU, what it stands for is cursive acronym, that's GNU's not Unix. Distro, so you might have heard of distro a lot too, but it means this Linux distribution. And yeah, so when I said there's a kernel operating system that's like GNU Linux, but then there's also like when you get Ubuntu, like my Ubuntu over here, we have a bar and we have like I have a bunch of applications that I can use. There are a lot of like built-in applications that I didn't have to install, like LibreOffice, which was like the Excel of Ubuntu, and then also just the Windows system. So if it was just the operating system or like just the Linux itself, then Linux doesn't actually have like a visual, like graphical user interface. Like Linux on its own, it's just like you take an embedded system, like a small computer, and then like a Raspberry Pi, for example. And some of you have worked with Raspberry Pis, but Raspberry Pis, you can't really do anything with them unless you can see or you have some other ways of connecting with them. But yeah, Linux it doesn't have a graphical user interface, but then you can add it with like Linux distribution, like Ubuntu. Ubuntu comes with the X Windows system, which looks like this. So this is how Ubuntu looks like, but other Linux distributions look like different. Yeah, so their Linux distributions are kind of like the entire package, and they comprise of the Linux kernel, which is the low-level firmware kind of thing that interfaces with the hardware, and also the GNU utilities, which is like a bit higher than the kernel, and then also additional software such as the Windows system and the desktop environment. Okay, and then open source, we already mentioned, is software for which the source code is freely available and may be modified and redistributed. And then the terminal and command line is the text-based interface to use your computer. So like I mentioned, you can either interact with your computer via like a GUI-based system, like the Windows system, where if you want to open files, if you want to open files, you like open the File Explorer and then move your mouse and then click something. I know that sounds very basic, but that's the Windows system. But then the other way to interact with your computer, you can do everything that, well, a lot of everything that you can do like visually, you can do it with your terminal. And then you just have to do this via text. So instead of like going to like documents and files like this, you just have to do it via text, which we will do in our interactive portion. But yeah, so terminal command line is basically just a text-based interface for your computer. All right. Okay, I'm gonna very briefly explain some history to help you understand Linux just a little bit more. And while I get this picture to be bigger, does anyone have any questions so far? Sorry if I went fast.
Which distro is most common in North America? You think?
Oh, yeah, good question. So the distros depend on like what you're using them for. So usually like what you mean is probably like a desktop distribution, which is like personal computers, and that one like Ubuntu is like most popular because Ubuntu is like very user friendly. Like Ubuntu is like so like full-fledged now that it's basically like anyone can just get Ubuntu, and you don't even need to be computer or tech savvy to be able to use Ubuntu because it has like all the applications that Windows and Mac OS has. It's kind of like trashier, but it still works. And then Fedora is another one. So like it's spelled like this, Fedora. And then there's also Debian that I've heard. And then yeah, there's like a lot of, I mean, Debian is like one of the more popular ones. Debian and Ubuntu are more popular. And then yeah, and then there's like different distros that are used in servers. So the distros that we talk about are like for PCs. I mean, yeah, but then you can also like if for cloud servers and stuff, there's also different benefits of using different distributions because yeah, they're made for different things, I guess. And also there's a ton of distributions. It's not just like 1 or 2 or 3, just like a ton, because again, you know how Linux is open source. So what you can actually do, which is really cool, is if you go on kernel, if you know how to do it, like I don't know how to do it, but if you know how to do it, you can download like source code and then you can just make your own custom kernel. And it does something I want to talk about in the advanced tutorial too. Like just like getting off track, but there's a tool called build root, and there's also a tool called Yocto. And what they are is you basically make your own custom operating system, which is pretty cool. Like I remember using build root for one of my internships, and you basically like customize your operating system, and then it gives you like this like making embedded Linux easy. So you literally like choose what you want to put in your operating system, and then you do it. Okay, I'm just gonna stop talking about that. It's too much. Are you going to explain how to install something like WSL? Yes, I'm going to explain WSL briefly. And yeah, and I'm not gonna explain how to install it because I think we assumed that you already installed. But if you do have questions about installing it, you can let us know like in the chat, and then someone can help you. Yeah, like but just like a summary, WSL or Windows Subsystem for Linux is like the way is. So you have Windows, right? And then there are different ways of getting Linux on Windows. You can get a virtual machine, which is what we used to do before Windows 10 came out. Like in Windows 7 and prior, you would just get a virtual machine like VirtualBox, and then it would run like Linux on your computer with Windows at the same time. Like it wasn't just like a simulation or anything. It's actually running real Linux on your computer at the same time. It's called virtualization, like virtualization, and that's something. And then like WSL came with Windows 10, and it's like an easier way for people to just use the terminal, because terminal is so much better than like PowerShell. And yeah, so yeah. And then Chardul posted the official instructions for installing WSL on the chat. So yeah. What OS are you streaming this on? Yeah, I'm doing this on Ubuntu. Okay, great. Anyone has any other questions before I move on? All right, okay. I'm gonna briefly go over like a bit of history, because then it will help you understand what Unix is. So back in 1970-ish, there was this operating system, a new operating system called Unix that was released in 1970s. And this was like kind of like a game changer, because before then, well, yeah, but Unix was like the first portable operating system, and it was written almost entirely in the C programming language, which was a big deal. Like right now, if you say, hey, an operating system is written in C, that's kind of like every operating system is written in C. But then back in the day, like a lot of operating systems for different machines were written in different assembly code and like machine code and stuff. So you would have to write like different like assembly code for different machines, and that was just very complicated. So then Unix came out in 1970, and then it was all written in C, and it was portable, so you could write the same like operating system or same code or something, and then use it on different machines. And then yeah, and then also Unix had really good like principles of the operating system. Like you can look into it, like Unix philosophy. There's like a whole thing, like Unix philosophy. Okay, ignore the Unix philosophy is dead, but it's not dead. And then yeah, so there's like a lot of like core principles of Unix that really made it a game-changing operating system. But the problem with Unix was that it was proprietary, and so Unix was used by a lot of like companies back in the day, but it was proprietary. So that means that like no one, yeah, it wasn't free. And then everything over here, the pink ones, are proprietary operating systems that were based off of Unix. And then so then we have. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my slides. Wait, are these my slides? Yeah. Okay, and then Linus Torvalds, which is like my favorite person ever. He is the creator of Linux, by the way. So in 1991, January 1991, I don't know why I know the dates, but so he wanted to get Unix, but it was proprietary, so it wasn't free, and then he didn't have money for it, or he was in university or something. So then he, instead of getting Unix, he got Minix, So spelled, well, I don't have it here, but it's a small thing over here, is Minix. And Minix was basically a very stripped down version of Unix for use for educational purposes. So it was used for like universities and research, and it wasn't actually Unix. It was just like a kind of it was basically Unix, but it was a stripped down version, like a skeleton, and it was only used for universities. It was also open source, so people could look at the code. So Linux got that, and then he played around with it. But then the problem with Linux was that it was only supposed to be used for educational purposes. Like it had a license that said you can't like use it for anything else that's not educational purposes. And then Linus was just set up with like all these licenses. So then he created his own version of Unix, his own Unix-like system called Linux. And that's how Linux came to be in 1991. And then I just wanted to talk about the free software movement, Richard Stallman, and the GNU project. So Linus Torvalds wasn't the first one who wanted to make an open source version of Unix. There was actually this guy called Richard Stallman, and he founded the GNU project and the free software movement in 1983. And his like big mission statement and the GNU project's big mission statement was to make the users, like computer users, have full control of their computers. Because back in the day, like the operating systems like Windows and whatever were black boxes, and you couldn't like do anything. You couldn't like have full control of your computer. So this goal was to make let users have full control. And so they started a GNU project, and the goal of the GNU project was to create a fully functioning computer that was open source. But they started from the top up. So they started with user applications and like the C library and just some user space stuff. So they started from the high level, and they made like a lot of open source programs like text editors and a lot of utilities, so that they come to be known as the GNU utilities. So GNU and then utilities. So yeah, but then by 1991, the only thing they were missing was the kernel, which is the low level firmware that interacts with the hardware. So GNU project had like everything except for the kernel. And then this is where Linus's project comes in. Linus made the kernel. And it's actually funny because Linus said that if GNU released their own version of the kernel by 1991, then Linus wouldn't have created the kernel himself, because he only created the kernel because there was no kernel. And so yeah, and then so in 1992-ish, like Linus like made Linux very like part of the GNU license or something, but it became really heavily integrated together, the Linux kernel and the GNU system utilities. And then now, like pretty much like starting from 1992 onwards, Linux kernel and GNU utilities kind of like came packaged together, because as a whole they make an entire full-fledged operating system. And then people just kind of call it Linux, but it's actually GNU Linux. Like yeah, because Linux is actually just a kernel. Even though like everyone correctly refers to it as the entire operating system, but the entire operating system is called GNU Linux, and Linux is just a kernel. But in the real world, you're going to say Linux, you're not going to say GNU Linux. Okay, so that was my brief history lesson. Anyone have any questions so far? Because after this, we're going to actually start doing things. Okay. Oh, okay. So there's nothing in the chat, but if you have any questions, you can unmute. All right. Okay. Now we're gonna open up the terminal. So now I want everyone in this call to open up the terminal, and we're going to learn how to use it. So I'm just gonna make this bigger. I don't know if this was explained before, but do you recommend Mac or Windows for Linux? I recommend Mac. If your only options are Mac or Windows, then Mac is much easier, I think. But yeah, Windows. I know a lot of people have really good experiences with WSL as well. And like for the most part, you can get away with WSL for everything. If you're doing anything like low level, then WSL gets complicated, but WSL should be fine for the most part. But Mac is better. But don't just get a Mac specifically for Linux. Like if you don't already have a Mac, don't just buy it for Linux. Yeah, okay. So that is that. Okay, so when you open the terminal, I don't know what you guys see, but this is what I see, and I'm just gonna show you some commands. So in the terminal is a text interface. So we're going to enter in a command called ls, and then you just write ls and then press enter, and then you're gonna see a bunch of stuff. So what this is so in the terminal, you're actually in like a directory. So if you go on like your folder, like your file explorer, and if you go on, I'm just gonna go make a new folder in my home directory, and I'm just gonna call it, oh, actually, yeah, I'll do it here. I don't know how to make new folders from the file explorer. Oh, okay, I actually don't know how to make a new folder from this. Okay, so now I have a folder called hello. All right, so I just wanted to show this here. I'm gonna have what I'm typing. I'm going to put it on this text editor here. So here, and then I'm gonna put the commands here, and then I'll do this here, and then yeah, okay. All right. Where's my file explorer? Okay, I got this. Okay, so right now, we're in our hello folder, and I know I didn't show you how I did this, but whichever directory you guys are on right now, what you can do is enter the mkdir command. So I'll write that here as well. mkdir and hello, and this just creates a new folder. Yeah, that's all it does. And then you can try to open it in like your file explorer, but it might be hard to find it because you might not know where it created this folder. But to find that out, you can if you can do, well, so if you're over here and then you do cd and then space and then type in the folder that you just created, and now this will say hello, and now you're in that folder. How do you open the terminal? I just clicked Ubuntu, but the commands right now aren't doing anything. Are you on Windows and you're using WSL? Okay. So does anyone like Shardul or someone who have used WSL want to help with this?
I think you have to open command line or PowerShell and then just type in WSL. And it should open up another command line as you see on the screen. So don't click on the Ubuntu, just click on command line, open up the Windows terminal, and then type in WSL. And yeah, if you guys need help.
That's actually a good idea, yeah, the Discord. Oh yeah. Sorry. So on this Discord, we had to set this up, but I messed up and I became late. But what you can do on the Discord is go on like support for help, and the Shardul is here already. So if you click to support, it's going to create a new voice call with just you, and then one of our mentors will come and help you out. So Shardul is already there. So if anyone needs help, you can hop in there. You can still stay on the Zoom call and just be on both. And yeah, so there's like to help you guys. Does anyone need the link to the server? Wait, invite people, copy. All right, I just got the link.
I think, yeah, it's all good, yeah. Cool.
Okay. Okay, and then Anirudh asked what that's, where is the terminal? Hold on. I'm gonna close things I'm not using. Okay, I think I'm using everything else. All right, where's my Sublime? Okay, so this exclamation mark. So actually, Anirudh, when you type that, you didn't put a space after the CD. So the spaces are important. If you don't put a space after CD, then it's not going to work. But what this does is it takes so from the last command you entered. So this is the last command I entered when I was here. It takes the second word, and then it just takes that and then copies and pastes it into here. So this command is the same thing as doing this command. If I had typed this command before, if that makes sense. So if I can do like, yeah, okay, if that makes sense. Yeah, or you can just try cd hello. So is anyone, is everyone good right now? Like I can continue. This is what we've done so far. Mr. Hello, cd hello. Okay. I'm gonna open Discord here. See. All right. Is the one, oh yeah, the other one is actually not arbitrary. It's actually dependent on the position. So if I do like, if I'm just gonna do like, so hello world 993. Okay. Echo is a command that like whatever you write after echo, like no matter what, it's just gonna echo here. And then, and you, okay, whoa, so a lot of questions. Hold on, wait. So if I do echo exclamation mark colon 0, then it's going to, okay, that looks confusing, but this is the result. This is the output of that command. This is just saying what the command that you entered was. This is the output, and 0 is the first thing that we entered. And then you can also do if I do this, and then if I do like 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, it's going to put mine. And this is just like a quick shortcut. It's like you probably don't know, but you would use it now, but it's easy if you're just typing a lot and you don't want to like type that. But yeah. And another cool thing, if you do echo like this, exclamation mark, it's the entire previous command. And this is like useful, like the only time, I mean, the main thing you use this for is like when you need to use sudo. So, yeah. Okay, I won't get into that right now. Okay. Okay. All right. I think you guys are answering it here, so you can, and anyway, for Windows PowerShell, you can do what I've done so far in Windows PowerShell, but there are going to be some things, not in this workshop, but like eventually there can be some things that you can do on Windows PowerShell. Because Windows PowerShell is, I don't know how that works. Yeah, it's not like, remember when I said when you use like WSL, like Windows Assistant for Linux, or when you use a virtual machine, it's not just like a simulation of Linux, it's actually physically running Linux on your computer on virtualization technology. So PowerShell is not using Linux, it's just, it's kind of using the Linux commands to make it look like you're using Linux. Okay. Yeah, if you guys need like more help, like specific help, hop on the Discord server. Okay, let's see. I don't think Nano or Vim works. Yes, if I want to echo an entire sentence using, how do I do that? So you can do echo exclamation mark. Which OS are you using? I'm using Ubuntu, which is a Linux operating system. It's based on Linux. It is a Linux, yeah. Thanks, sir. No problem, Wilson. Okay. All right, I will continue. Okay, so everyone has made a directory called hello and CD'd into it. Oh, I'm sorry, I get distracted. Okay, I'm just going to continue then. All right, so yeah, CD is, okay, so make this, it creates a new folder. So I'm just gonna create another folder inside hello called temp. And then the other command that's very useful is ls. And ls, I don't know what it stands for, but it lists what's in your directory. So right now we just created a folder called temp, and now you're gonna see the temp here. Now if you create another folder called temp2 and you do ls, now you're gonna see 2 folders here. And then if you do ls and then dash space and then dash l, then you're gonna see the same information, I mean, the same 2 folders, but like a lot more information. I'm just gonna write what I've done here as well. And yeah, again, on the left, I'm gonna write the commands. Make temp 2 and then ls. Yeah. So the difference between ls and ls-l is ls-l, this -l is called an a flag. And it basically provides just some options that you want to go with that command. So ls is the command that just lists stuff, and -l is saying you want to list some more information. Okay, and this information, yeah, we'll get to like exactly what this information means in our second tutorial, so stay tuned for that. Something else that you can do is ls-l and a space, and then like a folder name, like temp is what I don't know why I called is this, but if you do this, it's gonna show you what's inside the folder of this without actually like CDing into that. So again, right now we're still in this folder called hello, but then if you do ls L temp, then it's going to show you what's inside the temp folder, which is nothing. And you can also do like temp and then slash, and then like another folder called, I don't know, hi. And then now if you do ls/l temp, it's going to show you that it's another folder. Okay. Yep, this stuff isn't working on PowerShell. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that is that. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to explore the cd command a bit. So if you go cd temp, now again, now you're in this directory, hello temp, and now if you do ls/l, you're going to see this folder. So in like your co-ops or whenever you're using Linux, a lot of the times you're going to be traversing directories, and what that means is just like going up and down the directory. So to go in a directory, you just do cd and space and then the name of the directory. And then if you want to go back up, you do cd and then space and then dot dot. See dot dot. And then also most likely your terminal will support tab completion. So if I just do T and then press tab, then it's going to complete it for me. And then if I can continue doing tab completion, like press tab again, and then it's going to show me all the folders in temp and temp2. And then I can like just press enter slash and then do tab completion again, and then it's going to show me the folder inside that. So this is like very, very useful if like you want to you traverse faster, I guess. So yeah. So like you should be very comfortable in general, like going around up and down directories. Yeah. Also, if you have git bash, you can try that too. Yep. I'm just gonna quickly look at the time I allotted for this because sometimes I spend too much time talking. Wait. Okay, 6. We're already late. Okay, I will hurry up. Okay, let me just spend like maybe 10 more minutes on the commands. Okay, so another useful command is called touch, and what this does is so remember Mick there creates a folder, but touch creates a file. Hello file, and so I'm gonna write that here. Touch, I'm just gonna call it my name. Now if I do ls/l, it's going to show that this is a file. And usually in your terminal, it's going to be a different color. Your directories are going to be bolded, and your files are going to be like that. Also, your directories, the first letter of this thing is going to say a D, and your files are just going to have a dash. So that's like one difference, another difference of a file. Yeah. And then, so now I just created an empty file. So this file doesn't actually have like any text, but to read a file, you do cat hello file. And actually I remember when we went, I just want to write like okay. Right. And then the other thing is read a file is cat. And if you notice cat hello file, there's nothing here because it was an empty file. But if I do want to put like hello world inside my file, I can use echo. Well, echo is another thing. Echo is this echo. You just like put something here. Okay, I'm just gonna enter like commands here, and I don't have to like explain it in the text. I'll explain it. Okay, so if I do echo quotation mark is important in this one, I think. If you do hello world and then do this bracket, this angry bracket, I mean arrow sign thing, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, so it's a bracket. And then you put the file name, and then you press enter. And now if you read it, it's going to have that. So you can try doing that to echo and then whatever you want, and then put that into your file, and then you're putting it into the file. And then yeah. And then if you want to append to it, you want to add another line to it, you have to use 2 arrows, because if you use just 1 arrow, then it's going to overwrite the file. So now if I cat it, it's going to show hello another line. Okay. Yes. All right. So that is that. Again, if you guys have questions, you can enter in the chat. And then yeah. So again, if I just use one bracket, I don't know what this is called, like right triangle bracket thing. If I just like do one of them, then it's just going to overwrite the entire file. So you want to be careful, like of using either 1 or 2. 2 is for appending. One is for overwriting. All right, great. Okay. Now I'm going to teach you how to use Nano very quickly. So right now we just know how to like enter lines into a file, but then that's not really useful as much, because if you want to like actually edit it, you don't want to have to like open up like an actual like text editor and stuff. There's more reasons for that too, but you can edit the file like properly within the terminal, and there are different text editors within the terminal. So like text-based text editors that you can use. So there's like Nano Vim. There's another one that I forget. Oh, and if you put a command and then you put the hashtag, that's like comment. It's like a comment. So you're just going to ignore this line. But yeah, Nano and Vim are 2 like text editors. We're going to learn how to use Nano for today. And then if you just do Nano space your file name, it's going to open this up, which confuses me too, because there's so much going on. So I don't understand how Nano is better than Vim, but it is better. I agree. Okay. So to like, once this is here, you just like, you can type like anything you want. It's just like, yeah, you just type things, and now you can just edit the file as you wish. Hello, my name is Rita. You can just enter, type, and then to save and exit. Okay, wait, just Drew, do you want to help me out with this again? I forget.
Yeah, I think you just type Control O.
Okay, Control O, and then Control
O, and then just type in the file name and then enter.
Oh, all right. And then yeah.
Now you can exit. Yeah.
Okay, exit with Control X, right? Yeah. Okay.
Control X, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, Nano is definitely better for beginners. Everyone says that. That's true. I'm just used to Vim. Yeah. So yeah, again, what we did was we press Nano, and now you have the file. To save and exit, you do, thanks Shadow, by the way, you Control O, and then here you can apparently write the file name. So if I just name another file, and then Control X. Oh wait, no, Enter, and then Control X. Wait, yes, because I put a different name, I think. All right, that was scary. Vim is for cool people. Thanks, you called me cool. If you guys are wondering like how Vim is used, it looks like, this is how Vim looks like. It's similar, but the reason why it's confusing is because there's like 2. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but it's a bit different. And then to exit Vim, yeah, it's easier. Wait, how do you exit out the file and get back to the terminal? See, I told you, people are, Nano is confusing, but it's Control O and then Control X. Wait, Control O, Enter, Control X. So let me write that here. Control plus O, Enter, Control plus X. And what format does a file get saved as? So in Linux, file formats are fake, and extensions are like not really a thing in Linux. The only reason that file extensions like .text and stuff ever became a thing was because of Windows, because Windows just put file extensions to everything. But Linux is smart enough to know what format your file is without doing an extension. So you'll notice that all these files, they don't have extensions. They're just hello file. You can make a file .text, like if I do touch a file .text, and now it's gonna just have the extension .text, but on Linux, it literally doesn't mean anything. Oh yeah, because you couldn't open the files from File Explorer. Yeah, that would make sense. Because yeah, on Windows, you need to have file extensions, and then yeah. On Linux, Linux, if you're trying to open something like on a text editor and it doesn't have an extension, you just double click it and it just opens automatically the text editor because everything is like that. So yeah, okay. And then there's something else I want to say. I forgot. Oh yeah, okay. Just some other commands I just want to briefly go over, like for now. There's like copying a file and moving and changing the name of a file. So let's say this file over here, I messed up on the spelling. So let's say I want to change the name. The command for that is mv. It's like actually the move command, but move and then file text and then so this is the original file and then the file that the name that you want to change it to, and then you just press enter, and now the file name will have changed to this. So it was this command here. Okay. Yeah. And then if you wanna copy files, you do copy like the file that you start with, and then like copy of hello or something, and now you have two files that have the same content. So if I do like cat hello, it's gonna have the same content as cat copy of hello. So the command for that was cp. And file, and then there's file. Oh, I should do this. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm just thinking of what else would be useful for this tutorial. Does anyone have any questions so far? Because yeah, so for the commands that we learned so far are useful for like traversing directory and creating files, creating directories, copying, moving things around. And also, like, if you want to take this file and put it into a directory, it's the same command as mv, because this is like after the move command, so it just changes the file path. So for now, you have like this in your file, your folder, right? And then if I want to move hello into the directory called temp2, this is how I do it. So the folder is mv, and then the file that I want to move, and then the folder that I want to move it to. And then now if I do ls-l, the hello is going to be gone. And if I do ls-l on temp2, it's going to show the file here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, those were the basic terminal commands that I wanted to go through. And right now, I think we are only 10 minutes behind, I think. So actually, we're only 2 minutes behind. But this was supposed to be time for a few minutes break. So how's everyone feeling right now? So is everyone like caught up? Anyone has any questions? Anyone have any questions? Oh, chat. Oh, I got it. Okay, if there's no questions, we can move on to learning about Git. Okay. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of talk about Git. It's just going to be like a 5-minute intro on Git, and then we're going to learn how to use Git. And then after that, we're going to do a group exercise. And I suggest like everyone following along for this, because it can get confusing really fast. And Git so far what we learned was relatively simple, but Git can get a lot more confusing like much faster. So definitely like would help if you guys would follow along with what we're going to do so far. Are you going to show how to push code to an? Yes, that's what we're going to do today. That's the group exercise. The first part, we're going to show how to just manage the source code like locally, and then we're going to push to a repo altogether and see how that goes. All right. So what Git is, so this is, so if you remember like before using Git in like high school, if you worked on a project with like friends and you had a paper that you were writing, you would do like all of these edits, and then it would be like final, and then final. So instead of doing all that, we have version control systems. And what they are is they're used for managing like versioning for code bases. And it doesn't have to be code bases, it can be other things too, but it's mainly used for code bases. And so Git is just one of the version control systems. There are, but Git is not the only version control system. There are like some other ones. There's like SVN and that's all I know. But there's like other version control systems. But Git is the most widely used one, and it just lets you so it lets you like keep track of versioning for yourself, like for your own computer if you're working on it like by yourself. And it also really helps with if a lot of like people are working on the same code base, then it helps with that. Because like imagine like right now, like in school, all the assignments that you've done like for class, you just do it yourself, and so you can just kind of have like one version the entire time. But like let's say you're in a group project, or like if you work in co-op and you really work with like it can be anywhere from like a few people to like hundreds of people who work together on the same code base. So imagine having to like deal with that without using a version control system, it would become a mess. So that's why version control systems exist, and Git is just the most widely used one. Yeah, and also fun fact, the same person who created Linux, like Linus Torvalds, he also created Git, and he created Git for the purpose of version controlling his Linux project. So like he created Linux in like 1991, and then like a year or two later, he was like fed up with SVN, like which was the main version control system back in the day, and then he just created his own version control system called Git to manage like Linux, which is so cool. And then now Linux and Git are like super important. Everyone uses it. Okay, great. So like some Git concepts, I'm going to explain this like briefly, but it like you can watch all these videos on how Git works, but it helps you understand when you actually like do the commands and like play with it yourself. So I'm just going to briefly only talk about this. So in Git, you have something called a working directory, and working directory is like, let's say you have like Sublime Text open. Oh, it's not this. If you have like Sublime Text, or like you're working on some code, so whatever the version that you're currently working on your computer is called your working directory. Yeah, it's like your local repo, I think. But it's like, yeah, where you're working on. And then it's not actually tracked by Git until you tell Git to track it. So you put it into staging first. Again, this is confusing right now, but yeah, you put files into the staging area, which tells Git, hey, track any changes to this file. Because if you don't do that, then any changes that you make to a file, it's not going to be tracked by Git. So you have to explicitly tell Git to track changes in a file. And then that would be like staged in the staging area. And then once it's in staging, then you commit it to your local repo. So what this means is, so when you're working on like a code base, you're gonna be making changes, but you won't necessarily have to be like saving every single letter that you enter into like your file. You don't want to like have like a history of every single thing that you type. So you'll only like commit or like save into your history when you have to tell Git when you want to do that. And then when you commit your changes, then it's going to like put that into your Git history forever. And then yeah, and then it'll make your local repo. So it's gonna save down to your local repository. So it just means on your computer versus remote, which means on like a cloud computer. Yeah. And then, yeah, so this is that. And then GitHub, which is, yeah, GitHub is so Git is like actually the system that controls all of this, but GitHub is where you store your code on like a cloud server. That's pretty much like all GitHub is. It's just like hosting for your code base. So GitHub is just one hosting platform, but if you remember on like when we went to kernel.org, kernel.org is its own like hosting platform, but there's like a ton of different, like there's like GitLab and other hosting servers. that you can host Git repositories on, but GitHub is just like the most widely used one, and that's why they go really well together. But you can use Git with like any different hosting platform as well. Okay, cool. And then as Anirudh asked, if we're going to be just working on source code management locally, or are we going to be pushing code online? So what he means by pushing code online means that like whatever change you make on your local repo, so on your computer, if you Git push, so if you push to your remote repo, that means that you're actually like saving it to the server. Otherwise, no one else can see your changes. It's only on your local computer. So to actually make other people see it, you have to push. All right. So now that we have that done, we're going to actually see what that looks like. Okay, so first we're going to just like be playing with it ourselves without pushing on GitHub. So we're just going to be getting familiar with Git. So what we're going to do here is in our hello folder, let's create a directory called our repo or something. And then we'll just cd into it. And then this is going to be our Git repo. I'm just going to pause here for like a second. Does anyone have questions so far? And is everyone like set up to be following along? Because again, it's really, it would really help you guys follow along. It would help you guys understand this. Okay. So assuming it's all good, again, you can enter into the chat or go on Discord. What we're gonna do is, so first when we have like our repo, our code base here, it's not actually a Git repo until we tell Git that we want to make this into a Git repository. And repo is short for repository. So what you do is Git and a space and then write init. And what that does is it just makes your current directory that you're on, is going to make this into a Git repository. So can everyone like confirm that they can do this? Because if they can't, that means that you might not have installed Git properly. And Miranda just sent a message on how to install Git. Yeah, most likely like you would have Git installed because it's so like commonly used that a lot of things, just a lot of like terminals and stuff already have installed. But just in case you did, then I suggest you go on the Discord like support channels and someone can help you out with that. Okay. All right, I'll continue then. So yeah, we've done Git init so far. Now what we're gonna do is Git space status. I'm gonna again do the same thing here and enter what I'm writing here so you can keep it for reference. Git init, which means initialize the repo, and then Git status is to check the status. Okay, so Git status is gonna show you just some information. It's gonna show you 3 different bits of information. One is what branch you're currently on. We're not going to talk about branching in this workshop, but for our next workshop, I'm going to explain branching. But for now, we can just ignore this. And then it's going to show you what commits you have. And right now, we didn't do anything, so it's just no commits. And then the third part is going to show you anything that is, any changes that you made in your repository that are not being, that have not been committed yet. It might be confusing, but we will see what that means. So we're going to create a file called, I don't know, or I just use, I don't know, hello, okay. Okay, so now we have a file. Now if we do Git status, it's going to look different. And so it's going to show untracked file. And what this means is that Git recognizes that you've created a new file, but it's also saying you haven't told me to track this yet. But this is something that changed in my repo. So if you want to tell me to track it, then you have to use git add to track it. Yeah. So right now, hello is something that changed in the repo, but it's not being tracked by Git. So to actually track it, and by track it, we mean like start tracking the versioning of it, and also it means to add it to the history. I think, wait, no, it just means, yeah, to just make that file part of like make it seen by Git. I don't know. Okay, now if you did git add hello, if you do git status again, and now it's going to be green now, and it's going to say these are the changes to be committed. So all right, so let me show you the diagram again, which was super useful. So what we've done so far is first we were in the working directory, we were just here, and then we had hello, and then when we were at this stage, we were still in this stage over here, and then we added it, and then we're in the staging area. So which means that this file is in staging, but it's not committed yet. And so that means that it's staged, but when you commit it, it's written to the history of like your version tracking system. So then you can actually like revert back to it, and you can like everyone can see that you made that change. So right now it's not written into that yet. So if you want to commit it, what you can do is git commit and then space -m and then quotation mark and then a commit message. Save that file. So a commit message is something that should explain what you changed, and it can be anything that you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, it can be empty, but it can be anything. But it's like good best practice is to actually make it meaningful, because a lot of the times like people just say change. I don't know. They just like put random stuff, but it's good to add like a meaningful commit message, because then when other people look, like when you look at your version, and if you're trying to find like an old version that worked, you can see like what you've changed, and then it's easier. So when we enter that, I'm going to take this and then put this over here. Okay, and now it's going to show that we have committed. Now to do git status, it's going to say on branch master and then nothing to commit, working tree clean. So now we're good. That means that we added a file and then we committed, and yeah, so that's good. And then if we do git log, git space log, it's gonna show that commit history. So that's git log over here. So right now we've only made one commit, and one commit you can just think of it as like the change, I guess. But yeah, so each commit has like its own unique ID. And Git keeps track of the author, and for you, this, in fact, I think like it might not even let you commit before you log in. I'm not sure, but how do I add my email? Are you talking to me, Angela, or Miranda? Oh, here. I think you have to So when we, so when we push to our like remote repository, Git is going to like prompt us for an email and everything. So you can add it then, and that's like the easiest way. There's probably better ways to do it, but that's how I know. Also, just something useful.
Angela,
yes.
I will private message you. We can work it out. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Ariba.
No problem. Something useful is called the man command. And what it's just like it shows you information. It's like a manual, so it shows you information. It shows you information about any command. So if you do man git, it's gonna tell me like everything that the git command can do. And so if you said you wanted to add your email, so this is how like I would try to find out like how you would add your email. I mean, for this it would probably be easier to like Google it, but this is just like the whole manual and reference of all of the git commands. So you can actually see all the git commands here. Yep. All right. Okay. So is that all? I'm just gonna let's create another change. I just add something to our file, and then we can just what's our file name called again? Hello. Okay. I might have done that too fast, but I basically just did this command here. I just added a line to our file, and then yeah, that's all I did. So now if I do git status, it's going to say modified. It's not going to say I added a new file, but remember how before when we first created this file, it put it under untracked files. It's because before this file was in track, but now that we've already added this file to tell Git to track it, now it's not showing it as untracked anymore, because hello is now officially being tracked by Git, so it's not showing it as untracked, but it is recognizing that something changed. So and now it's automatically in the second stage of this diagram. It's in the staging area. Wait, it's not staging yet, but it's track. And then if you want to stage it for commit, you want to add it. Yeah, I was just saying there's a difference between like untracked files and like things that are not staged. Like any new files you add are going to be untracked first, and then you have to add it, and then they will be officially part of Git. So yeah. Now if I add it, now it's going to do that here. Also, another useful command is so if I have another file like by, and then if I create another file like by2, and another file like hello3, and then another file. Now if I do git status, it's going to show me a bunch of untracked files, and I don't want to have to like add all of them individually. So instead of doing that, I do git space and then a dash capital A, and that's going to add all of the files that are in the untracked files here. Now if I do git status, it's going to show you all of this. I did git m by mistake, something weird happened. All right, let's see what happens when you do git m. Oh, it's probably waiting for your input. So whenever you do anything on Linux and it's just doing this, you do control and like C, control C, and then you can leave it. That git m. So yeah, oh. Okay, yeah, over here it was just waiting for you to enter more or something. Anyway, so now that we are here, you are currently rebasing. Oh, it was trying to do something advanced. So Anirudh, what you should do to fix it is git reset head. Wait, no, hold on. Base continue. This is what you do, I think. All right. Okay, anyway, let's hope I didn't do anything weird. Okay, I'm gonna take all these changes and I'm gonna commit it. Okay, this is exactly what you don't want to do, like just put commit to, but this is just for now. Now if I do git log, it's gonna show you those changes. Okay, so that was like the local one, and now we're going to actually like do this all together and show how that works. So if anyone has any questions, you can let us know, but I'm just gonna find that GitHub repository. Does anyone do all of that and have any questions? Yeah, it's not letting me come in because it doesn't know my GitHub account. Okay. I wonder if there's a login? Nope. Git log one. Okay, yeah, we're just going to like push it to GitHub because I know it prompts you. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Shardul. And then it's the email thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put that here as well. Actually, I don't want to put that because it's gonna mess up with my thing. So the command that Shardul was saying was git config -- global user.name recipes. And without the hashtag, because remember hashtag means it's just going to ignore everything because I don't want to actually change anything with my git config, but this is the command to make tell git what your name is. And then the command to tell git config -- global user.email your email. Okay, that's not my actual email, but yeah. Okay, we're good. Okay. All right, so now this is what we're going to do. This is GitHub, okay? And so GitHub has repositories. I'm just trying to find the repository that we created for this. Oh, Linux workshop one. Okay. All right. So this is the workshop that this is the repository that we set up that we're all going to try to work together on. So if everyone can go on the link that I sent in the chat. Yeah. So this is a repository, and we're going to take this repository. So again, this repository by now it only exists on GitHub. So like on the cloud server, what we're going to do is we're going to clone it and bring that repository to our local computer, and then all of us are going to make a unique, like a code change. Like all of us are going to create a new file, and it has to be a new file. We can't all work on the same file because that's going to create a lot of issues. So we're all going to each create a new file on this repo, and then we're going to commit, and then we're going to push. And then by the end of all of this, we're all going to see all our files here all together. So that is our goal. So we will go through this process. And this is something that you'll be doing a lot of the times when you're working or when you're just doing like fun projects and stuff and you want to clone a repo. This is how you do it. So what you do is you go on this button that says like code, and then this link, just copy it to your clipboard. And yeah, Miranda said a reminder to post your email associated with your GitHub account in the Discord so we can add it to this repo. Otherwise, the step will not work. All right, so we're going to, again, what we did so far was click the code button and then click this copy button, and then we're going to go on terminal. And I'm just going to make this full. No, I'll put this on here as well. Now we're going to, I'm just going to go back to our hello folder. Now I'm going to do git clone, and then you have to paste the URL, but to paste in your terminal, it might be different. Like it might not just be Control V. You might have to do Control Shift V. For me, I have to do Control Shift V to paste something on my clipboard. For you, it might be Control Shift V, or it might be just Control V. So it's just git clone and the URL, and then you press enter, and then it will clone it. And then when you look at what happened, you will have that, right click for WSL. So if you're on WSL, you can right click to paste something. Yeah, so if you notice before we did this folder wasn't there, but now we did this and it cloned into the directory. So it just took everything that was on GitHub and it went here. And now we can cd into this repo. And if you do git status here, it's going to have everything that was on that repo originally, which was just a README file. So yeah, everyone at this point should be doing that, git cloning this. I would paste this command on chat, but I want you guys to go on the repo and do this part yourself. And then the next command is just git status, cd into the repo, like so cd is this one, cd into the repo, and then do git status. All right, great. So we are going to move on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is everyone is going to create a file called, like with your name. So I'm going to just create a file called Ariba. I hope no one else has my name, but create a file with your name. And if you want like something unique to, in case someone else has the same first name. And yeah, everyone's just going to create a file with your name. And if you want, you can add something in your file for fun. If you want, I can add, and this is like whatever you add here, it's going to go on the repo. So don't add anything inappropriate. Okay. I did it. I exited nano. All right. So assuming everyone's good, we should be in this stage where we just add a file with our name. I'm just going to pause for a bit in case people have questions. Is everyone good? All right. Could you just repeat the stuff after clone? Yes. So git clone, and then I cd'd into the Linux workshop 1. So this was the second command. Git clone was here. And then ls-show, I just did ls-show to make sure that I actually got that repository. And then I just cd into it. So I changed the directory. And then I did git status to make sure that everything's all good. And then I create a new file for my name. What are ways to paste it into the terminal? So if you're using GOSL, you can right click with your mouse and that apparently should paste it. And then the other options, if that doesn't work, you can try Control V or Control Shift V. Control V, Control Shift V. It's gonna be one. It should be one of those, and it should be right click. And it, like for me, I can also do right click and then do paste. Yeah, and then yes. After we did that, we just create a file with our name, and this is what we're going to push on our repo all together. I mean, with your own names. And then if you want, you can use Nano to edit that file to just add something fun. So I just added like this random thing. But yeah, okay. So now that we're here, what we're going to do is, so what are the next steps? If anyone who doesn't already know Git can answer, what do you think the next step is that I need to do in order to get this change up on GitHub? Commit? Yeah, so that would be the next step, but remember, yeah, git add is the next step, because commit is, you have to first track it and then you have to stage it, like, yeah. So remember, every change you make, you have to tell Git, before you commit, you have to add it. You have to put it into like staging before you commit. Because if I try to commit right now, we'll see what happens actually. Git commit, and then it's just gonna say nothing added to commit, because we haven't added anything to this commit yet. So we have to explicitly do git add and then our file name. And then if we do git status first, it's going to show that you have a new file that's ready to be committed. And then you can do your commit. And then remember, your commit message has to do something that's not just like a change, like just something useful. Added new file called Reba. You can just say something fun if you want for this one. Okay, so do not push yet. Yeah, just everyone just come to this stage and then we'll do the next step together-ish. So yeah, again, what we did was git add your file name, and then now we're here. And then, yeah. Okay, so is everyone good so far? Everyone is in this stage where if you do git status, it shows you this. Okay. All right. Okay, so now okay, so by pushing it, just something you have to be aware of before you push is, let's say I try to push my change, right? And then I push, and then Anirudh wants to push as well. So first I push, and then Anirudh is going to try to push, but that's going to give Anirudh an error because it's going to tell Anirudh that he hasn't pulled the latest changes. So that's like a big thing that you have to be careful of, because every time before you push, you have to pull any latest changes that may have happened before you last pulled the latest changes. So I'm going to be the first, actually, no, I don't want to be the first one to push, but if maybe Shardul or Miranda or anyone else, if someone wants to push first, and then I can show what to do for everyone else. Or actually, one of you guys, just anyone can just do the honors and do git push. I don't want to do that because I want to show what happens when it goes wrong. Okay, so if I want to just check, like if someone has pushed so far, I can use a command called git fetch And git fetch, it just checks if there was anything new made to the repo so far. So far, no one has pushed, which is fine. So yeah, again, the command git fetch, what it just does is it fetches any new changes that were made so far. So I'm just gonna continue doing this until someone pushes. Hey, Stefan. I knew it doesn't. Yes, someone pushed. Okay, I'm so happy. Yay! Who was this? Okay, I want to know who this was, but we'll find out. Okay, great. So you guys what happened? Git fetch, and then all this came up. What this means was that someone pushed, and to know who pushed, what you will, I'll do exactly what you're doing, or else I'll mess it up. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so what everyone else you guys can continue following me now. So now we're good to continue. So git fetch, and if you do git fetch, you should also get this, and then you can do git pull. So if you do git fetch, it doesn't actually yeah, it just tells you like what changed, but it doesn't actually like make the change. So if you do like ls-l, whatever this person changed is not actually here yet. So git fetch just tells you what changed, but if you like actually look at repo, nothing actually changed. It just tells you like what was new. To actually like pull, like to actually put those changes into your repository, this is a command, git pull. All right, this is gonna be fun. So if you do git pull, this is gonna come up, and it's just saying, please enter a commit message to explain why this merge is necessary. So yeah, and this automatically, for me at least, it opens up on Vim, which might confuse you guys, and it probably will open up for everyone too. So just listen carefully. We can exit Vim. We got this. So what we're gonna do is press I, like the keyboard I. Okay, just press it, and then it should show insert at the bottom. Okay, so everyone is here, like insert, and then we're just gonna enter like a message, like hi. Okay. Actually, we don't even have to enter a message. It's fine. We actually don't even need to. Sorry, you don't need to do I, but if you did do I, yeah, press escape. So make sure there is no insert, and then press colon. So whatever you type here, it should come here, colon, and then WQ. So colon WQ, and then press enter, and now you have exited Vim successfully. And then it worked successfully. And it was Stefan. Stefan made the change. Nice. All right. So now if I do ls-l, I'm going to have what Stefan said, and let's see what Stefan said. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll just let everyone do that to make sure it's all good and you guys are able to do this. If you have any questions, let us know. How do you exit again? So you have to press escape on your keyboard. Yay, stuff is working. Okay, yeah, escape on your keyboard and then do colon. So I'll show you here. Okay, so this is where you are, right? And then except like you're here, but you have like a lot of stuff on. So you press escape and then you press colon. And once you press colon, you'll see this colon over here. And then you press WQ. I mean, yeah, you do that. And then you press enter. And that's how you save and exit on Vim. Does that make sense? And yeah, I'll just do that one more time. Okay. So you're here, press escape on your keyboard, and then shift and colon. So you enter the colon down here, and then WQ. WQ just saves what you changed. It just saves, and then it quits it. It's not working for me. Okay, so do you want to go on Discord, or you can like specify what's not working? Because I'm not sure what's not working. Or if you can unmute and speak up too. Yeah, or you can go on Discord and Shareduo is there for helping you individually. I tried though, we couldn't enter, but nothing happened. Okay, so what might be an issue is maybe it opened Nano with you guys, and if it opened Nano, then no, Stefan, no, you're on insert mode. You have to make sure you're in command mode. So you have to press escape first. You're in command. Yeah. So you have make sure you press escape. So escape on your keyboard, and then colon WQ, and then enter, and then that should work. Just in case it opened Nano, because remember, like it opened here, and this was Vim. So this like interface is Vim when you see these squiggly lines. But if in case it wasn't Vim, if it looked like this, and with all of this stuff again, that means it was just Nano, and you can exit Nano as you exited Nano before by doing Control O, enter, Control X. Does it open Vim because Stefan made the file in Vim? No, it opens Vim because Git has some defaults about like when it opens Switch, but yeah, it opens Vim because that's a default for that specific scenario, but you can configure it. Oh, okay, so yeah, so I guess it's configurable, so you can either tell Git to open things in Nano or Vim. For me, it was set to Vim, so I'm sorry for confusing everyone, but apparently for someone else, it was opening in Nano, so exiting worked like before. So if for you the interface looks like this, then you're in Nano, and you can exit like you know how to exit in Nano. Okay. All right. Okay, so now that we're here, when you do git status, this is what you will see. Your branch is ahead of 2 commits. So if everyone's going to push at the exact same time, it's not going to be good. So I'm just going to push first. And again, so you're going to have to do the same thing over and over again. And this is kind of like, where branching would have been good. We're going to learn branching in the next workshop next week. But this is just to show you how life will be like if you don't use branching. So I'm just gonna git push, and then if you haven't configured this already, which I haven't, it's gonna ask you for your GitHub username. So this is for my username is Ariba Aziz. I'm not sure if email works, but this is like your username for GitHub, and you press enter, and then your password. And when it prompts for password, you don't have to be afraid someone's watching you. You can just enter your password, and it's not gonna like show anything, but it is actually entering your password. So you can just enter your password and just ignore what's on the screen. It's not gonna show you the password or anything, but it actually is entering the password, and I entered my password wrong. But you can just try again. Oh, okay, my bad. I don't have permission to that GitHub repo. So if you get this permission denied error over here, if you get an error 403 says the requested permission to this was denied, then we need to give you access. So I'll just quickly give myself access. So this is when you had to share your email with us. Yeah. Oh, yeah, error codes, yes. Right. I'm just inviting myself. Okay, now that I have access, I should be able to do the same thing again. All right, I guess not. Does anyone have access? So can wait, okay, I don't know. Let's see. No, I think this is just a permission error, so I have to have like wide access. Oh, I don't have. Wait, maybe, yeah. I have. I had a different role than everyone else. Maybe that might work. We'll try.
Ariba, I think you're pending the invite to accept. I saw that on the GitHub.
Oh, what?
See, it says awaiting response from Ariba.
Oh, right. Okay, good point. And yeah, a lot of people are waiting response, so don't do what I did. Okay, you'll get this email that looks like this. Thank you so much, Miranda. You'll get this email and then you have to accept it. Is that all I have to do? Oh, accept or decline. Okay. Oh, I know what to do. Okay, perfect. Wait, let's see if this works now. Okay, great. So this is, I know this still errors, but now I know that the first issue was solved. So the reason why this is not working is because someone pushed probably. Yeah, so if you see something like this, updates rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. It's exactly what it says. It's because we didn't pull the latest changes. So to push that, first I just want to see how many people pushed while I was there. Okay, so if I do git pull again, and now there's a merge conflict. And who edited Ariba? Okay, that's fine. I'm not mad. Okay, so I'm going to solve this merge conflict. You may or may not also have a similar issue, but this is how I would solve a merge conflict. And a merge conflict, what it means is that two of us are trying to edit the same file or something similar to that. And it's like Git doesn't know which one to take because it's like two different people are trying to make the same changes into the same file or like in the same lines or something. And then you have to fix this merge conflict by telling Git which version, like which one of the two you want to take. And so you will come into merge conflicts like a lot. And although this was something I wanted to go in the second workshop, we can, I guess since we're facing this, we can do this now. Yeah. Also, good job on your root Luke and Miranda and Satyrish. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's your name, but if for like doing this properly, so you beat me to it. So this is how you would resolve a merge conflict. Wait, okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay, all right. All right, so if you do git status, to fix your merge conflict, you will see which file is the one that is in conflict in red. And so you need to fix this file. So what you can do is open up the file on like Vim or Nano or whichever one you're comfortable with. And then you'll notice that hey, who overwrote? Someone actually overwrote my file. All right, whatever. Well, good, because now we know how to solve merge conflicts. But yeah, so what happened was that you're gonna see this, and this part at the top here is what I wrote. This is what head means, is like, it's like my version. So this is what I'm trying to push, okay? Remember, because yeah, I'm trying to push this change. But someone else, and I don't know who it was, what do you call it? Also created a file called Ariba, and they wrote this. So again, anything between head and this line over here, this is what I'm trying to push. This is like the change that I'm pushing. And then this is the change that someone else is also like trying to push. And the reason why it's conflicting is because I didn't actually push Ariba, like the file Ariba before. So there was no file called Ariba. And then we both are trying to push, create a new file called Ariba. And then Gate doesn't know which one to take. So to fix that, I'm going to, decide, this is like up to me. So I can decide what I want to take. If I decide that I want to take all of them, then I can do that. But in like your real world code, like when you're doing code, you can like figure out which version you want to take. And sometimes it's going to be your version that you guys want to take. Sometimes it's going to be the other person's version. And sometimes it might be both. So you just have to like do this manually, and you have to figure out which version or combination of versions that you want to take, and just don't just like blindly take your own version, because sometimes you want to keep the other person's changes. So you just like use your best judgment, and sometimes you're gonna want to use one or the other or both. So what we need to do is we can ask, we need to delete this line. So on Vim, I don't know, it's just DD, like press DD twice to delete it, but on Nano you can just delete it like a normal text editor. And then you delete this line over here, and then I'm going to delete this line. And then now I have this, and I'm just gonna decide arbitrarily to keep all the changes. And I'm just gonna save and exit. And then now that if I like read the file, it has all of this here. And now I've decided that this is how I want the combination of my change and their change to be like. So what I need to do is add it again. And I have to do the step. Like I can't just like merge. I had to do git add. Now if I do git status, it's going to do this. And then so it's okay. Whoever oh Luke, you pushed it. It's okay, no worries. I'm glad you did this, because now I don't have to teach word conflicts next workshop. I mean, I probably will again, but still. Okay, good, cool. So now that you've created that thing, you can do git pull, because I just want to know who else made things. Okay, yeah. So you won't be able to do git pull because it says you have not concluded your merge, because I'm currently in the middle of doing a merge, but then there was a conflict. So to finish that merge, we have to do commit. And actually, like you should like read what it says, because they tell you exactly what to do. Says all conflicts are fixed, but you are still merging. Use git commit to conclude merge. So it just tells you exactly what to do. You can just do git commit, and now it's gonna open up this thing again. It might be Nano or Vim. I'm just gonna save this. All right, and now this should be fine. Let's see if anyone else push something. So yeah, and now there's another merge conflict, and let's see what happened here. Okay, thanks. I agree. I'm great. I appreciate it. Okay. Like when I did get where do I find my message part? So to do that, you just git log, and then all your commit messages would be like here. So a lot of them just look like merging branch of this, but if you go down, see, this is like Miranda's merge, like add Miranda file, and then this is where you trying to exit Vim and you're on Nano. That's so funny. Okay, that's cute. And then these are your merges. So yeah, you can look at the history of like merge this here. My message should be replaced with your file name, I think. Yeah, your message can be anything. Yes, that's Rishika. Yes, your commit message was funny. Okay, let's see if I have the file where I want it to be. Yeah, I want this file. Oh, goodness. Okay. Right. Also, just to know, you'll notice over here, I just guess that's because I added an alias for my computer, because I don't like writing git status all the time. So I just write git. We will learn that next workshop. Okay. Right. Okay, can I push? Oh, this is gpit is another alias that I made for myself, but it's the same as git push. So yay, I pushed successfully. I did it. Someone changed Ariba again, so Ariba can never push. Thanks, Stefan. Okay, so I'm saying, where do I find what message the person put in when they were committing? Yeah, so to do that, you can do git log, and then so like a specific thing. So what you can actually do, so okay, if you do git log, it's gonna show you like all the commit messages, right? So it's kind of like hard because I just scroll down and the one that you're looking for. But this is why GitHub exists. And this is like why like hosting Git on like a server is useful. And this is why GitHub is really useful, because if you go on GitHub and if you go on like this here, oh my God, I'm so happy everyone did this. It's so cute. Nice. Okay. Yeah. To look at your commits on GitHub, you can go to 31 commits over here, this thing over here, click that. And then, so this is basically what Git log does, except it just looks nicer. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad that everyone got to push. So that was like kind of like a nice, how do you exit out the logbook? Oh yeah, you have to press Q. Just Q. Git log Q. Yeah. So yeah, in your co-op, like this is a really common thing that you will be doing, like pulling, merging, fixing merge conflicts. A lot of the time people get scared of merge conflicts because they just don't know what to do, but it's really not hard. Like remember, for merge conflicts, all you need to do is figure out what files are in conflict. So you look at the files that are like red, like over here, you just look at the files that are both modified. And then you just have to open that file on like any text editor. If you don't want to use Vim or Nano, you can literally use Sublime Text and open that file, and it's gonna have those like like arrowhead and stuff. And then you just like edit it to fix that file to however you want it to be. And then you do git add, and then git commit, and then git push, and yeah. So that's how you fix the merge conflict. And then you just, yeah, so I think, yeah, so that's like most of the tutorial. If anyone has any questions, they can like stay here. Like I'm gonna be here. Otherwise, like if you guys have pushed to GitHub, you've succeeded and you've like completed what you needed to complete in this workshop, and you're ready to go on to the next workshop on Monday. And on Monday, we're gonna be doing some more advanced, it's not advanced stuff, but like just next level for this. So.
Yeah, thank you, Ariba. I'm gonna end the recording now. I just wanted to tell everyone thank you so much for attending the Linux Part 1 workshop today. I hope everyone learned lots of new skills. And these are literally skills, if you have a software co-op, you'll probably be using them every day. I know I personally have, and this stuff is really important to learn. So thank you everyone for coming out. Be sure to like and follow McMaster DSC on social media to get notified for our upcoming events. We do have an event this Wednesday. It's called Cracking the Co-op Panel. We have 7 panelists who've done some awesome co-ops before. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in that as well. And yeah, we hope to see everyone next Monday for the part 2 of this workshop. Yeah, we can hang out here for a bit, but I'm just going to stop the recording now. Yeah. And thank you guys.